Coming into game number 1 of the final series of the day, Heroic Aurora. It should be fun. I like this. I'm unconventional, conventional, old style, new style. There's other ways to put it that I can't think of off the top of my head at the moment, but yeah, we'll see if Aurora can do it. Both these teams vying for that last slot in the playoffs.
Yeah, a lot of tankiness on the side of Aurora. Abba, Tiny, Bristleback. These heroes are very difficult to kill. I think in this game, as Medusa, you also want to be building into Silver Edge to have that break mechanic available. So probably going to be... Since they have mixed damage, Abba, like you want to get Butterfly, it's a carry Abba. Radiant's still going to deal some damage. The panel talked about him getting Diffusal Blade as well, which is an okay Diffusal Blade carrier, nothing too crazy. This is not like your Phantom Lancer, your Pango. So I think itemization-wise for Yuma in this game, pretty standard. Manta style, get Butterfly, ASAP, and then go for Silver Edge so that you have break mechanic. Maybe throw in some kind of a silence on top of Abba to be able to kill him before he can get the ulti off. Silence plus break always going to be good. But yeah, I think Heroic also are playing their own style with this Clockwork, something that Schofield does love to run. It's one of his better overall heroes, I would say. Let's check how he has been doing so far with Clockwork. Yeah, 100% win rate so far. So I know that I was watching some of the games. I wasn't really sure. He makes the hero work.
He doesn't get too ahead of himself, too, with these hook shots. We saw, I think, in one of the games, you know, the numbers weren't really high, but he was hitting every hook shot and made sure that he was absolutely ready with follow-up there for the side of Heroic.
Yeah, I'd also to point out the lanes that they are setting up. They want to have Chen Medusa is lane with literally zero pressure. At least Clockwork gives you body that's going to be in front. That it also does give you potentially a kill trade in the lane. And to point out Sanking, this is something that we've been saying ever since teams started to pick it up. Hero that does lose the lane. That's why they have Chen, so that he can stack. Clockwork can't stack 2 camps at the same time, but Chen can. And you can see King Jungles already in the jungle, as suggested in his name. Double sentry to unblock those camps in the outer ring to make sure that they're going to be available. That's what makes Sanking such a strong hero in the meta, because he can farm 2 of those camps compared to some other heroes who can't really farm it as fast.
So what is it about Sanking, though? And I think I've already asked you this throughout the 5 days up to this point, but like, what makes it so he's so popular, but he's losing the lane every time? What makes him such a bad laner, but, you know, that's usually the first box checked of, I'm not picking this hero, bad laner. But he seems to lose every lane. Why is that?
Blink Initiator gets it relatively early on. You always have that reliable stun. Good teamfight ulti that deals a lot of damage with Aghanim Scepter. Supports really hate to play into it. If you layer that with another stun, you have a kill threat on the core as well. And we can see that Whisper, he's really struggling.
Oh, he's
one creep away from level 2. This is the classic Sanking. This is why we always say that this hero is weak in the lane. You don't know what to skill. Like, if you skill stun, you kind of feel bad. If you have your Stinger, it also feels bad. Same goes with the Sandstorm. So his early levels are very bad. And yeah, they're going to be getting first blood. It's going to be Nightfall. Who's going to get it?
Has there ever been another hero like this? Bad. All 3 skills, pick one, it feels bad. Lane's not that great, but still very popular. When was the last time we had another hero that felt that way?
Let me go through the heroes to check.
Schofield getting chased by Panto and pops that fairy fire, gets up onto the high ground, now throws those cogs and will survive. Panto chasing, but won't be able to get a kill here on a Schofield, who will pop a salve.
I'm looking. I mean, we had, you know, Anti-Mage. This is the classic hero that does absolutely nothing. Same goes for Phantom Lancer and some of these early levels. So they're relatively easy to kill. When it comes down to the off lane, I'm trying to think if we had such a weak off laner. Probably not. I think Sanking might be the worst throughout the Dota history. Back in the days, I'm just going to tell you that, while Schofield's going to die, is you could not cancel his ulti. That's how bad the hero was, and he was still a top-tier pick.
Channeling.
Once you're in, you're actually in. You're committing.
It was a bad look to accidentally tap it, not be able to stop it. Now it's on cooldown for 100 plus seconds.
Bumping.
No. I remember those days. I was around for a little bit. So far, Aurora, who have looked like a strong team and maybe surprised by them having to be at this point on the edge of elimination, but also, of course, on the edge of playoffs.
Chen from the offlane not really working out. He's using Divine Favor, extra bit of regen, extra bit of armor onto Sanking, trying to give him that good laning stage that he's lacking, but they're also stacking a little bit on the side, which I really like in the bottom lane. So with 2 points in Sandstorm, he should be ready to maybe even threaten killing that. And this is what we've seen from other teams. When they're playing against Sanking, body blocking, re-blocking the camp as well, not allowing the other guy to go for the stacks. King Jungles, as Chen, he can't really defend himself. This is basically a position for Chen, which is kind of meh. Schofield is going to be the one still playing position 4, but the thing that you can do with Chen from the offlane isn't as threatening as when you're playing it from position 5.
Nightfall going to try and contest these stacked creeps here. We'll get a couple working with that Mephitic Shield. We'll see when Whisper leaves the lane. You know, Aurora, they've done the opposite of what Heroic have done. They went win-win, loss-loss. This is their third chance to qualify for the playoffs. Whereas Heroic, they went loss-loss, win-win. And now they're on their first chance to qualify. They started maybe a little tired and have boosted up into a potential playoff qualification. So far, though, Aurora, they're the ones who lead the charge. They're up 1,000 net worth, and that Abaddon down bottom is owning.
Having the time of his life. I don't know if you want to give Abba this good of a game. Like, Chen, Sanking, they're never going to be able to kill Abba. Maybe with rotations from Slardar, but still, once he gets level 6, Chen brings you no damage whatsoever, and you can see that already Whisper, he is jungling. Mira understands exactly what he's doing. Gonna kill the sentry. We'll place an Oz, try to steal some of that XP, maybe steal some of the creeps.
Not
Needs
only
to be careful, though.
Yeah. But they're trying to make sure Whisper, not only bad lane, but bad game. They don't want him to get any makeup farm here. These stack camps. They have brought over Panto. They're going to run down KJ. This could turn, honestly, into them going after Whisper for more. He's going to sit here in the Sandstorm again, but Mira is just going to, well, eat a lot of damage, but also steal a couple of creeps. Dust out, hits on a Whisper. He has to go towards the tier 2 tower. But with Panto and Mira here, they're looking to control the shrine for the next minute.
They need some kind of a help. It needs to be Analog who needs to come in and help him out. He does have a haste rune, so that's a pretty good one. Nightfall very close to his level 6. It seems like they're very aware of what's happening. An observer ward that Mira placed. King Jungles has sentry available, probably knows that it's up there. Just needs a little bit of a help.
A little surprised that they've completely backed off the shrine. They still have 20 seconds to go there, though, and it looks as though, yeah, they'll push the creep wave into the tower. And Nightfall, it looked as though he was going to run up that bridge, but instead, they'll concede the shrine. They did bring Analog over, and they've put the Clockwork over mid to get some solo experience. But Sardar didn't exactly get them any kills or anything like that coming here at level 6.
And Nightfall will continue to farm up. Level 6 is ready, keeping the point for now. So he feels pretty safe in terms of him getting killed before he's getting Radiance. Damage on Heroic is very limited. This is Clockwork, who is only level 3, 7 minutes into the game. Same goes for Chen, who just cracked level 4, but he doesn't really deal much damage. So it needs to be Slardar. Medusa's going to be playing on a different side, will be jungling. So a bit of a slower lineup from Heroic. That's why I'm not feeling this Chen as well, because you have a couple of heroes that want to play, I would say, slightly faster. You have Sanking, who wants to jungle, Medusa as well. Slugger wants to be paired up with +1. And now Schofield in trouble.
Ice Path lands, snowballs there. Analog comes over with Corrosive Haze. They'll make the trade onto Mira. Panto might be next. Corrosive Haze and hoping that the Viscous Nasal Goo slows him down enough, and it has. So all of a sudden, Analog, he's forced to try and get this stun and run away, but the 6 stacks of the Viscous Nasal Goo Toronto Tokyo putting the damage on and eventually turns tail because Yuma still doing some decent damage and standing his ground. He'll get the kill on a Panto.
Overextended there. Not sure what the plan was. Definitely couldn't kill off Slaughter that easily. He was underneath the tower. Doesn't have sprint yet, so for now he's just gonna continue farming up. And we didn't talk too much about Kiyotaka. He's the lowest net worth core in the mid lane. Still very close between him, Bristleback, and Slardar.
A little surprised maybe that he's off the starting line this
Not
slow.
necessarily. He was playing into Slardar, so both of them, like, he got some extra farm when Slardar did go away from the lane, and they already have medium Lotus available on Tiny. So that's going to be extra 400 HP, 400 mana on top of Soul Ring, so pretty much infinite mana on this Tiny, plus a bottle.
Whisper just trying to defend the tier 1 tower, but start to get a little concerned with how much Nightfall is getting out of this. For free, too. At the same time, Medusa with those couple of kills, Yuma put himself in a pretty good spot. He stacked the camps nearby the top tier 1. But finally, Aurora will choose to put pressure on the tier 1 mid and try to open up the map and maybe slow down some of the progress these heroic heroes are making.
Their tower defense is also not the greatest. The Zenking kind of needs to be there as well if they're bringing in numbers. Toronto Tokyo, he's diving. Schofield, Cogs are ready.
Cogs are ready. He doesn't run right at him. Actually goes through the trees and gets another quill spray out, but he doesn't quite get the kill. They'll look over at Analog. They've got the snowball, and they'll get this kill onto the Slardar. Kiyotaka getting credit for that one. That'll bump him up a bit.
Plus regeneration rune, exactly what Tiny needs.
Whisper, he's got Epicenter. He is level 8. See if he tries to make any move. He'll bail out, and stacks are stolen again by Aurora. This is kind of tough to watch in terms of how many of those 14 stacks have Heroic actually taken.
Yes,
alone.
Not necessarily in terms of gold, but also good amount of XP has been taken away. Mira,
oh, great shards. Good pull there by KJ, though. Might even be able to turn if they have a +1. They do have a Clockwork coming over. He doesn't have level 6, though. Burrow Strike, Whispers here, Cogs around on the Panto, and they get the kill on the Jakiro. Using that Wild Wing Ripper to use that Hurricane to pull him out of the shards is a big save to keep Slardar alive.
Schofield needs to be careful. Everything is on cooldown for him for a couple of seconds. Nightfall maybe didn't pay attention, but also wanted to put some more pressure onto tower with Catapult. He's fine. As I said, I don't think he's gonna die pre-Radiance, which is a pretty massive deal. You never feel threatened. Damage that they do have. Hand of God is ready, however, so extra bit of a survivability. Kiyotaka wants to wrap around. We saw how much damage level 4 toss can do with Crash Landing Facet.
Can you find an opening? These creeps are kind of giving them some extra information. But here comes Kiyotaka. Cogs, toss, not really going to matter. They get the tier 1 tower.
All the creeps are going to die. They ganked the creeps and the tower. Good value, though. Kiyotaka getting that extra bit of money. Will TP it to the mid lane. The rest of the team will smoke up. They want Analog one more time. Ooh, Tiny would also love to pick up this rune.
They'll spot Schofield, and Nightfall is here to help out. TP out from Analog, so they just get the Clockwork in this situation. But they tried. They were looking. Slardar, he's the one who's now switched spots with Kiyotaka.
A little surprised Kiyotaka didn't go for blind stun there, because he saw that there is TP ready on Slardar, and they were already killing Clockwork, so he would definitely not help out. We also didn't talk too much about Toronto Tokyo, who's farming on the other side of the map. Not many stacks have been made for him. Just 1, 2 I see in the triangle, so he's going to be clearing that. Or will he? Kiyotaka's getting quite a lot of that. He's getting the towers, which I think they need to do, because Kiyotaka on Tiny, even though he managed to pull the back game with his plays in game number 1 yesterday, it was still not good enough in the mid game, but I also want to see itemization coming out from him. I would love to see this. Ooh,
Epicenter.
Trouble.
Burrow Strike and the Gorgon's Grasp with the Cogs. ready to go but unneeded as they'll battery assault their way to a kill onto Toronto Tokyo.
And to go back to Kiyotaka and his itemization, I would love to see Force Staff and that Wind Waker that he did go for.
Ooh, Avalanche, Kiyotaka.
Soul Ring is ready. Didn't use it immediately. Kiyotaka. Gonna Rage Toss his ally.
Yeah.
I mean, he had Magic Wand ready as well. Lotus, Soul Ring, so any button that he did press would give him just enough mana to get that toss back, so... Doesn't get the kill, and Abaddon is getting very close to his Radiance, so that's gonna be big item timing for them. Yuma continues to farm up as well. Didn't die a single time. He's involved actually in 3 out of 4 kills.
This could be both shrines for the side of Aurora. They got one. And now Schofield trying to stay nearby, but forced to hookshot away.
Doesn't have
This
TP.
isn't great. Yeah, you hookshot with no TP, hoping that they lose track of you or give up. But instead, they get both shrines and a kill. That's a lot to give up there. Life about to get much better for Nightfall, too, with this Radiance flying in a second. Or be able to pick up. This is Aurora, even with Heroic. Do you think Medusa being top of the net worth, is that enough for them to start to take these fights?
They have double Blink Dagger, one on Sanking, one on Slaughter, but they're also not putting too much pressure. There's also Observer Ward very deep into the lane. This one we're seeing where it allows them to see any kind of movement, especially if they're gonna TP smoke in front of the tier 2 tower. Still keeping the net worth even. Chen is jungling, so is Slardar, so is Sanking. It's like they're playing for a bit of a later timing.
Here's that Radiance, by the way. Finally has it finished. So Viscous Nasal Goo onto the Tormentor.
They're ready. Whisper and Schofield are coming.
It's still tough to get.
Oh, no Blink Dagger on Whisper. It was on cooldown for a couple of seconds. So Mira will pick up the Shard. Good farming tool on Tusk. Allows you to farm much easier. You don't have to use as much mana with the Snowball and Ice Shards. We didn't talk about the Medusa, her itemization. Instead of the Butterfly that I mentioned, since you're playing against Abba, I also want to see if there's going to be a Diffusal Blade on Abba. That's why I love this Manta-style Butterfly, Silver Edge, so you can break them and also have Evasion. Instead, he's going for, I would say, a newer build with Aghanim Scepter ever since we changed 25 talent and moved into Ags. Mira will die.
Yeah, Hookshot, Epicenter both used in that situation. It's giving some gold over to the Clockwork, who is looking first item Ags. Ooh. Missing that Slithering Crush. See how the Ags ends up working out for Schofield as they're chasing. They want to find Panto. And will get their hands onto the Jakiro the chase is on, but can they kill him? They should have him dead to rights and will. So another kill here for Heroic, and Aurora kind of bleeding some kills when maybe they shouldn't need to.
Nightfall is the one who's going to get to trade in the top lane. Level 12 on his Abba. Got those 2 kills in the lane, but yet to see him in action. Game did slow down by quite a lot. 2 teams very farm-oriented. Schofield has Cogs, is moving down the river, getting an extra bit of movement speed.
Pulls Nightfall in with him. But Kiyotaka is here. Avalanche toss up into the air. And an easy kill there for the side of Aurora. Pick up this Maelstrom on Medusa. With the Manta style already finished, I mean, Yuma has had a lot of time to farm. Bro strike and the Gorgon's grasp. Blade Mail pop. Not sure they'll care though, as it's another kill for Heroic.
Planting some deep vision here. Analog. Blink ready, Shard ready. This is his farming tool. Ooh, he blinked in it. Does have Shield Rune available, plus Yule Scepter, plus medium Lotus.
He's got a lot
Wants to go
go
back in. Kiyotaka.
He's blinking a second. Oh, God, another good hurricane.
Should still be able to get the kill here on Chen.
It's a cool move that it doesn't turn into him surviving, but it's slick. Still opening up more space for Yuma. All the attention away. But Kiyotaka wants more. So he'll Yules into an avalanche, toss back towards this Tusk into a Walrus Punch ice path, and you never had a chance. The control the entire time is so good from Aurora.
And now they're hunting. They want more. Kiyotaka running a little low on mana. Does have Soul Ring, does have Healing Lotus. Being scouted by that Observer Ward, freshly placed by Schofield.
Whispered deep on the Aurora side to farm. He's going into the Shiva's Guard next. Nightfall still farming up. He wants that Manta, then the Diffusal. Maybe they can work on getting Yuma afterwards. If you know that Diffusal is coming, is there a point where Heroic just have to play aggressive and try and make the map tiny for Aurora, try to push these towers now?
I want to see Butterfly. That's what I want to see. Knowing that Abaddon is relatively good Manta-style Diffusal Blade carrier, your mana is going to be gone pretty quickly. If you get isolated especially.
Not giving Schofield a chance to hook shot out of there. Another kill. Kiyotaka finally starting to feel like he is all online.
Definitely is. Sitting on 2,000 gold as well.
Now they're right onto this Medusa. Upgraded shards around him. Snowball gonna buy some time, grab that stun. They start to back away though. Stone Gaze used. On the other side though, Kiyotaka half health. Whisper went in with a Burrow Strike. Doesn't have a lot of mana to play with though. Toronto Tokyo's in. Yuma's low. No mana, no life. And Whisper thrown right onto the Abaddon. They still want more. Mira tag team Yules up into the air, in some trouble, and will blink after the Yules get back to the base, but the toss up on the KJ at the same time will end up getting a kill. Shards just short of Analog. However, Aurora, they are pushing forward.
With those Blink Daggers up, they need to be able to get the jump. Like, they need to, there was no Epicenter in the previous fight. They need to pair him up with the Slardar to be able to try to get some kills at least, because right now they're going to lose another tower. That's a tier 2 tower in the top lane.
They might lose the one mid if they want to push it, but it doesn't look like they're pushing past this creep wave for the moment. They do have Clockwork and Slardar to try and defend. Kiyotaka's only got half health, so this could be a kill for them. Let's see if they jump it.
Snowball save is ready from Mira.
Look at that Cobalt. Not hanging out by any heroes. Walrus Punch, hookshot onto 2. Gorgon's Grasp is placed down. Yuma has a lot of help to get the kill to Kiyotaka. And they will find Panto as a second.
Oh, we've seen these so many times from Aurora. They make a couple of good moves, then they make one shitty move, suddenly the game is almost even, and this is also gonna allow them to take Roche. There is buyback on Kiyotaka, something that we've seen he's not afraid to use to win a team fight.
Yeah, even this early in the game. Nightfall, he's not easy to kill. He's got borrowed time. The shards are in a decent spot. Now he pops the borrowed time. No buyback used by Kiyotaka just yet. Walrus Punch, Burrow Strike coming across, hits both of them, and now Nightfall, well, he never had the buyback. He never had any help, and he is in trouble. The Mephitic Shield, though, will get the kill to Schofield. He'll end up dead to Analog. And, I mean, they never brought Kiyotaka back in. He didn't buy back. He didn't commit.
Yesterday, he bought back in the second game to save his Phantom Assassin just to use Wind Waker and then died immediately, even though he was respawning 10 seconds in. But with this stat, they delay Roshan, and that's what matters. Roshan down to half HP. They can keep Roshan in this state, wait until Abba is back up, and then they can try to take it. Slardar is invis.
So at the end of the day, it might have worked out, though, if they do get this Aegis in the hands of Aurora. There's still 15 seconds without Nightfall, though. Need to hold this out. They've got Kiyotaka top. Might walk into the Sand King.
Yeah, he's trying to go for a solo kill.
Sand King
Needs a little bit of extra damage. Yep. Abatos. Not that good of a combo anymore.
Not enough to get that kill. Nightfall working on the Diffusal. Either team working on Roche. What do they have sitting in there? Just a couple of Chen creeps. They've got that Hellbear Smasher, as well as the Satyr Tormentor. Not any cavities that I could see in that mouth of teeth.
Probably has a healthy diet.
Walrus Punch in the shards. Schofield. Throws the cogs, but there's the Macro Pyre hook shot into Yuma. But the Avalanche toss, and still not enough to get a kill. But Toronto Tokyo moving forward. The Viscous Nasal Goo Mirror is here. The shards are placed perfectly to get the kill on a 1. And because Yuma went back to save him for the hook shot, he's forced to Stone Gaze, and he's in an awful spot where the snowball stops the TP. So he's up into the air with the Walrus Punch. They get the kill to the Medusa, and you tried to help your Clockwork, but Save Your Buddy Syndrome is not for the living.
This is not the target that you want to be helping out. As a Medusa, it feels very awkward for him to be there, knowing that they can relatively easy close the gap. One stun, one toss back, and she's going to be in trouble. We still haven't seen Sanking and Slardar being paired up together. Like one follow-up, one stun with the follow-up stun with the epicenter should be enough to grab the kill on pretty much any hero other than Tiny. And now Kiyotaka, double damage in bottle. They don't even need to pop it. They have more than enough with tag team, with Goo. So much minus armor coming out.
Quick Roche, easy Roche. And at the same time they get this Aegis on Nightfall, he picks up that Diffusal Blade. Yuma's life just became a whole lot more difficult. Ag's a little slow there from Whisper. Things for Heroic just not panning out. Need to be careful about how they play these next few minutes with the Aegis on the side of Aurora. One bad team fight could lead to the high ground being taken by the side of Aurora if they're confident enough, or depending on where the fight happens. So if you're Heroic, how do you try to spend your time while they've got the Aegis on Aurora?
Not dead.
It's pretty smart.
They need to, I mean, I said it a couple of times, I'm going to say it again. They have 3 very good initiators, but we haven't seen them in action. Try to play some deep vision, get a pick off. These heroes are also very good at delaying the game because they can creep skip, exactly what Chen is doing right now. Slardar pretty much one-shots the creep wave with Shard and Slithering Crush, Sanking as well. So that's exactly what they need to do until Medusa comes online. Even though she's very close to Abaddon's network, you really don't feel that she's doing much in the fights.
You see those Croakers able to wipe the creep wave out. So they're there to cut the creeps. Burrows strike back into the river, but it's right where Mira is ready to blink to get the Walrus Punch and kill off Whisper. Again, just seeing him alone without the Slardar or the rest of his team. He's got the Zags now.
There's no aggression.
Not grouped up.
Heroic is playing very passive Dota.
Yeah. Passive Dota and singular Dota. There will come a time where they all can get together and try and fight, but for now it hasn't looked that way. Double Croaker, double Satyr. More Croakers to take. Or farm. Big fan of the Croakers. They'll go in, they use the inhibit. The cogs are there, the Stone Gaze through. Got an Aegis to work with, but there is the hook shot. Mira's already dead. Doesn't have buyback, but Schofield on the low ground stuck there with Toronto Tokyo. And the real one they care for is Yuma, who's dead for 70 seconds. He doesn't have buyback. All you lost is Mira. You can stay on the high ground or try to. Finally, they'll make a move with the Burrow Strike, the epicenter, the Slither Crush coming through. But is it enough? Avalanche hits on a Whisper, tossed up, killed off, gone. 4 heroes are dead on Heroic, and it's going to be a full wipe for Aurora on the steps of your base.
They might be
done. Dear.
Could we see damage dealt by Medusa overall through the game? Because I feel like her damage might be okay-ish. It's just that she's also receiving quite a lot of damage. I feel like this Butterfly is not going for Butterfly is actually a huge mistake. Because you're never going to be lacking damage. You have Slardar in your team, so extra Corrosive Haze, extra minus 15 armor at level 2 is... I don't think you need more than that. And you saw how fast she died after getting the her mana burn by Abaddon, Manta Style, Diffuser Blade, gone instantly. They're still holding the Aegis. Toronto Tokyo back to full HP. Kiyotaka needs to be slightly careful. They don't want to push the limits. But I love this build on Kiyotaka. Did go for Black King Bar after Yules, and then going back to Octarine Core, lowering the cooldown of his abilities, and then going for Wind Waker.
Chen, by the way, cut the creep wave, so the backdoor protection came back online. He's using those Croakers and the Satyrs to cut the creeps where he can. Gotta clean them up so they don't have the ability to take on backdoor again. Still have a minute with this Aegis. If they want to make another move, they probably could. One more fight, or even, honestly, one more kill onto Medusa would be enough to probably win this game. Yuma's positioning needs to be very precise. Kiyotaka with an avalanche and anger. Hook shot in, finds Panto. Thinking about the epicenter burrow strike, they get the kill to Mira. They'll take out what seems to be both supports, but Panto, he's surviving for now. Even with that hook shot and the damage from the clockwork, it just did not work into a kill onto the Jakiro at all. They find themselves Whisper. He'll burrow strike back up onto the high ground.
Like ready the second.
And now Whisper is very dead.
Kiyotaka's doing a lot of work. He's in.
Yuma. Buyback forced from Whisper with the attempt at Yuma's life. Blink, Basher, both flying out for Abaddon. It's a 20,000 net worth lead 30 minutes into the game. Quite expansive. They'll bring Mira back in with that outpost taken. They could TP back towards the rest of their team. 5-1-10. Nightfall has a pretty flawless game.
Yeah, I love seeing Nightfall on these type of heroes. Phantom Assassin, Abaddon, heroes that are not afraid to jump in, knowing that he has some kind of a backup, that he has enough survivability to get out of the fight. He turned off the Radiance, so they can't see him with the illusions, ready to jump in with that Basher.
Kiyotaka lost his Wind Waker.
They saw Yuma, but they also saw another target.
Yeah, they'll get the Chan, but they're also working on Yuma at the same time.
His mana's gone.
Yeah, the Diffusal, borrowed time pops. Stone Gaze isn't going to matter. Yuma's dead, has buyback now. But in using it, it would feel real bad if Medusa has to use this buyback and goes back even further behind where Nightfall and the rest of Aurora are at in terms of net worth. So you're in this conflict of hoping that they don't push in so you don't have to use buyback, or putting yourself in a...
You should veto one attack. When they're going for the high ground, you're like, veto, can't attack right now.
Yeah, you have to leave.
Let's see if Heroic decides to use it here.
Glyph level 2.
Nothing in the old chat, so 30 seconds without Medusa. That's going to be another side of Barracks. She needs to probably use it if they decide to go for... If they get the jump, he might need to pop it, which is a pretty bad spot to be in.
Yeah, yeah.
20 seconds. No cooldown for another minute. They're trying to buy time. Medusa's fine. She's going to be out.
Yeah, 10 seconds left, and actually...
Yeah, she's going to be out of the game in the next 2 minutes.
I think bought out. Doesn't have that buyback anymore. Analog looking for the wraparound. Can they find that with the buyback? Maybe a hook shot. Panto on the low ground, so is Mira. Mira not staying nearby. He's got that blink dagger to close the gap and get that snowball for a save. But Clockwork buys back. Avalanche off the mark. Analog not bothered by that. Yuma will stand tall, but not really doing much damage in Toronto, Tokyo. Schofield activating that Ags, but he's off to the side and very vulnerable as they've got the Avalanche as well as the toss. They get the kill to Schofield. The burrow strike with the epicenter, but it's the damage there. Yules up into the air. The snowball to extend the life of Mira. He'll throw the shards around Analog. They get the kill to KJ. 2 years got on the side of Heroic. And Yuma, he's in trouble. Toronto, Tokyo in front of him as well as Analog. Whisper gets the burrow strike onto 2, but Knight falls back into the fight. They've got a double kill for the Abaddon. They'll look over at Yuma. Down goes a fourth. It looks like a full team wipe. It will be. GG is called. Aurora take game number 1.
And in the end, Tiny gets the dub. Kiyotaka, he had some really nice moves throughout this game on Tiny. They also let Nightfall completely free farm the lane setup that they did have.
Thank you, Sheebert. Coming into game number 2, Heroic playing for their lives, and Aurora, they're looking to go to the playoffs. They've had 3 chances, and this is their 3rd, and they're hoping this is the game where they finally get the green fill around their name, and it says qualified for playoffs, Lacoste.
Yeah, most definitely, but they're complicating the drafts. These are very complicated drafts to execute on their side. This is Tiny Tusk, not the strongest lane by any means. In the bottom lane, you're going to be having TB plus Tusk, which is a fine lane. It's just that this top lane I'm worried about, whether you're going to be giving Ursa a free lane with Ancient Apparition, with Ursa. They should be having a pretty okay time. There's going to be a good amount of harassment, I would say, from Tidebringer. And I also want to see what Schofield's going to get at level 1. If he goes for tree grab, I think they should be able to punch back and get some extra damage in. Seeing what Nightfall did by, it's just one set of tangos. He's not expecting that much damage to come through, so look at this move.
This is an interesting spot.
Everybody has their own 3 to hide behind. They're going to miss them, though. Unless they want to kill the creep wave here immediately.
Yep.
Impalement arts? Nope, nothing's happening.
I was going to say that might be it, but it isn't it. Panto's still sticking around with Chilling Touch. Okay, interesting move. Panto will just TP top. So they had their 3 trees. They tried to hide, tried to find a first blood. Didn't work out for them. Ultimately, and now Analog, he's going to be the one up against Kiyotaka. Kiyotaka, who in the last game didn't exactly have the best lane, but came online and then started to dominate as Tiny. Kind of a similar story here based on what the panel has to say, right? Because once he gets to level 6, he's online, he can jump the Sniper, and Sniper's life becomes way more difficult.
Yeah, he's counter for Sniper, it's just that the lane is not going to be as easy for him. Analog did go for Ghillie Suit. If you go for other facets, there's definitely a chance for you to grab the kill. Analog going to tank the tower and a couple of, actually 2 tower hits. Lost half of his HP.
It's a bit too far forward, and it's not really the HP deficit you could just be taking like that. If Kiyotaka has anything to take advantage of, he might as well just do so. But that lane's looking all right. Bottom lane, Mira down to about half health, and we get a quick little pause. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. It's always a quick pause. Just a nice little, 10 seconds. So everybody could take a breath, you included.
Done, everyone.
Breathe it in. Yeah,
Top lane.
My nose is always stuffed.
Well, yeah, same.
Always sounds so nasal. Like I have goo in my nose. Yeah, this bottom lane should be fine for Heroic. Quite a lot of damage, a lot of slow. He did go for Drinking Buddy, so will not have that much slow in the end, but Reflection can be very annoying, and also every single time we see Ringmaster and we see this hero being contested 100% of the time, the hero does so well. One of the best heroes in the game to get the trades. And they're going in.
Yeah, they're
No
pulling.
ball. They got that level 2.
They want Mira, and Mira is dead to rights. Yuma going to get a first blood and already going way better for Heroic in game number 2. But that being said, Whisper dies to Nightfall. I jinxed him as quickly as I praised him.
Yeah, something I wanted to say in this top lane, it's very important they proc Admiral's Rum before they start to play aggressive. Health threshold is 65%. They procced it, and then they found the opportunity and started to play more aggressive. Schofield right now is dragging the creep wave in the middle of the river. Let's see who's going to get this XP. It's going to be Panto. A couple of those creeps, but Schofield's taking a lot of damage. Tiny has 0 armor, so it makes it very difficult for him to tank the creep wave.
Chilling Touch slowing him down. He's trying to pull it all the way back. Not a lot of mana left for Panto, who is level 2. Yuma, he's taking a lot of damage. Tame the Beast and another Quill Spray. They'll get the kill to Yuma at bottom. They just got that kill on Mira, and all of a sudden, it's not just one, but his snowball's on cooldown. It's going to be 2.
definitely not what they wanted. They pushed the lane back, they had extra creep advantage. As you said, meta on cooldown for another 75 seconds now.
This is, right now, the side lanes of Aurora doing quite well. Mid will eventually get to that point where Kiyotaka is level 6. Not farming as well as Analog, but keeping himself close. At least for now.
For him, it's all about survivability until he gets that level 6. Then it makes it so much easier for him to play, get on top of Sniper, pair it up with the Ringmaster. Schofield, he's making a move. He's level 2 on Tiny, but just enough damage, I would say, that he needs to bring extra bit of slow from Blood Grenade if he throws it. Seems like Kiyotaka knows something is up. He's been missing a long time, but it also leaves Kunkka in 1v1 situation against Ursa, and you can see his items on Kunkka. Windlace plus Boots of Speed, so he wants to run away from Ursa, which means that in terms of scaling, he was also thinking about, oh, I'm gonna pick up Yule Scepter Phase Boost, that's gonna be my build on the offlane Kunkka. Great for setting things up when Storm jumps in, great for Ursa as well, because that's not... It doesn't affect the status resistance, which is really nice, but overall, I think in the scaling department, you're gonna need to still get an item, something that's gonna help you get to your next items, and Yule Scepter is definitely not that item.
Top lane with Panto back, and Tiny still sitting over mid. Kiyotaka had to walk all the way back home, and Schofield, he's wrapping around, but the opportunity to find Kiyotaka isn't exactly there.
Where's I love this part voice line. Maybe he spammed it too much. Kiyotaka looking for high 5.
Only one TP available for the supports of Aurora. Panto doesn't actually have one at the moment, but the Ringmaster does. Whisper backs up and he'll farm a stack. Let's see, it looks like Panto's gonna come to bottom, wanting to get a kill.
The shortest drinking buddies I've seen. Bumped it, that's it. Extra bit of move speed. On to Tokyo. Even though he doesn't have that much CS in terms of net worth, he is definitely up there with that double kill that he got.
Happy with that and constantly putting the pressure on to this Terrorblade. Yuma can't really feel too comfortable if a couple of Viscous Nasal Goose stacks are on him. And immediately they think about going for KJ instead, but Toronto Tokyo needs to show his back. Unfortunately, the Shard's in a pretty decent spot. Mira helping out a little bit. Throwing over that strongman tonic to Toronto Tokyo, but they'll snowball. They'll catch up to him. Still alive, still putting the Viscous Nasal Goo on, and eventually will fall to Yuma.
Maybe with items in his inventory instead of backpack would make the difference. 1 gauntlet plus Ironwood Branch. That's 4 extra strength that he was missing.
Mid lane, Panto here with an amplified damage early on, but they are going to lose this tier 1 tower. So this makes Storm's life a little bit more difficult. Doesn't have a tower to go back to. Toronto Tokyo did die a moment ago. Things evening out for Heroic in 7 minutes are going to be here in a second, and this is going to be the Shrine, and we'll see who gets which one. Kunkka no contest, but Mira, he needs to be careful. Assassinate is flying in. Now Toronto Tokyo has to stay on the Shrine, but they've got Schofield here too. KJ, they'll be blocked up for a moment. They get the kill on Amira. They'll end up trading. They do get the Shrine for Toronto Tokyo, but Yuma's here. So is Analog. Here comes the Ursa, it looked like for a second, but Kiyotaka, he turns this around. They get the kill on Analog and the TP out from Yuma. I think Ursa tried to TP. He was X'd back all the way to top.
This is what we want to see, like these type of fights, but Heroic, they managed to still lose the fight, even though they outnumbered, Aurora for a brief second, and then Kiyotaka finally made a move. But yeah, I think one thing that people talk about when they're talking about Nightfall is that he doesn't get involved. There was this Phantom Assassin game where he got involved pretty early on. He also wanted to get involved here, and I would say that Ursa is also one of his better heroes. Panto, he's in a lot of trouble.
Very dead. Kiyotaka picks up that haste rune, refills that bottle. Avalanche off the mark, not landing on a Mira. The Storm will walk all the way to this bounty rune as the Impalement Arts had hit, but just a bit of a deterrent. Battle Fury, of course, going to be first for Nightfall. We'll see how much. I mean, he was willing to move from the lane, but you see, yeah, here it is. Got the X. Guys, I'm in.
Never
Guys,
mind, I'm out.
Just kidding. I'm out.
Now they're trying to make a move on Nightfall. Seems like he knows something is up. Yuma is also there. Gonna slow him down.
Avalanche, Snowball, they've got it all, and they will get this kill easily. Toronto Tokyo commits to that TP. Ball Lightning looking for Schofield. X into the ghost ship. Analog in a position where they just can't get a grasp on him. So that means they lose Toronto Tokyo. Panto's gonna be next. The Assassinate is set, but the Escape Act is used. Impalement Art's on a KJ, but Panto's still dead. They'll use that Blood Grenade. They're trying to get a kill here onto the Tusk, who turn to ice after the Cold Feet does proc on the Snowball afterwards. But Kiyotaka not going to die to this Assassinate, but Whisper looking for an opportunity maybe to get a Tidebringer and potentially get a kill.
Nightfall, he was reading the situation really well, just slightly too late. It was like a couple of seconds late. They were already making that move, and now Nightfall is going to continue farming in the bottom lane. He wants that Battle Fury, as you said, needs one more broadsword, so 1,600 gold plus a recipe.
Schofield, what's he working on? Would assume wants a Blink Dagger eventually. Be that initiator for him. But it was feeling like all Aurora initially. Now, Heroic, they're in this spot in the game where they can feel pretty comfortable overall. Yuma top of the net worth. Analog right behind. He's going into the Maelstrom. What's the game plan here, Lacoste, for Aurora coming into the next 5 minutes or so?
Continue to farm up, get your level 6 on Ancient Apparition, try to get a snipe. Same goes for Ringmaster, so they need to get some extra, maybe stacks in the triangle. Somebody else can farm it. It's going to be Kiyotaka for now. Try to get those level 6s up, and then you can go for an aggressive play. You have Wheel of Wonder. You also have Ancient Apparition ulti on top of that, so Storm comes in. 1 point in Electric Vortex should be just enough for you to land that ulti, while the rest of the team is going to continue to farm up. You want Bristle to get his items. Seems like he's going for a bit of a different itemization in this game. Wants to have Vanguard, wants to have Crimson Guard potentially. Even Kevin's Halberd could be a good pickup, but I would prefer if this is going to be Crimson Guard later down the line. You're playing against TB, against Sniper, even Kunkka, some of that damage. But yeah, Whisper actually going for that Yule Scepter that we did mention earlier. So that's going to be his way of as well protecting himself, and also great against Ursa. And it's also a bit of a setup for your Torrent. We'll see if it pays off. This could be like 200 IQ play or 20.
It's a really big difference. Either looks good or oof. Ice Blast flying in.
There it is. 200 for now.
Yules. Yeah. For each bad Yules, how much do you lose?
And you gain. That 20 goes up to 25 for each usage by 5.
So currently at 20. 1 win is 20. Whisper, Schofield up top, Panto, he'll TP away. You can see Schofield, of course, wanting the Blink Dagger. He's got 900 gold. He's still ways out of there. But after what was a lot of skirmishing early on, it's kind of slowed down. Just a touch. They do have Ice Blast unlocked, but just used it. It'll be on cooldown for a little bit longer. Maybe they want to make a move once it's off cooldown to finally go, like you asked for. The Wheel of Wonder is there too. But they are buying some time right now for Nightfall to just get this Battle Fury ready and start to farm himself. He's sitting third in the net worth. Top of the net worth right now for them is terrible. Toronto Tokyo in the top lane has that Vanguard, and then we'll have that Blade Mail soon.
Seems like Heroic, they're fine.
Yeah.
Taking this one slowly, knowing that they have Terrorblade, they have snipers, so the heroes are going to scale really well. They can keep the distance, but there's also a couple of good heroes on Aurora to close the distance. Ursa, his next item is going to be a Blink Dagger. You have Storm Spirit, Bristleback. A lot of the time is tanky. And something we didn't mention about DB is Ancient Apparition ulti. It is always going to be like good way to counter it, because it still is one of the best heroes in the game to have it against. And also against Bristleback. When you drop low, this is going to be target that you're going to be looking to sunder. Same goes for Ursa, and then you're going to have enough damage. Sniper peeping from the distance. Schofield getting initiated on, but they don't want to commit, knowing that there is still tier 1 tower to TP to.
Thought about it there again. Nightfall going to pick up his own shrine. Meanwhile, the other one's still available. Kunkka's right by it. He should be grabbing that shrine in just a moment. Heroic very content. They thought about going for Schofield for a second, like you said, but other than that, I mean, Nightfall, he's looking to just farm this Blink BKB.
30 minutes until Tormentor.
Yeah.
Let's see if they decide to go in and maybe try to take it. Heroic, they right now do feel slightly stronger, so with tag team, they definitely have more than enough damage to take it. Maybe Aurora can try to grab a kill and sneak a Tormentor. Kiyotaka's invis, scouting things out.
Sees him. Ice Blast flying in, but Drinking Buddies is there. Not going to matter. Mira is there for some help with the Tame the Beast. They'll get the kill. And KJ, he is frostbitten, but he's not going to really worry about it with Yuma to his right.
Heroic bringing in the whole team. Rest of the team continues to farm up on different side. Still, a very good kill that they just got. Trading position 4 for enemy position 2. Not too bad of a trade. And immediately, they're going to go for Tormentor by tag team.
Scam, though.
I mean, Drinking Buddies. This is not the one that we see a lot of the times, but in this one, he wants to have a little bit of a save, which was kind of nicely used on Sniper in the previous one. It's just that still, he was in such spot that he's gonna die, and even though he didn't have too good of a start, Schofield still managed to get a good timing on that Blink Dagger, 15 minutes in.
Not bad at all. With this being an Ursa lineup, they take the Tormentor there, but is Nightfall thinking about an earlier Roche take if they could get like one pick off or something?
Yeah, most definitely. Once he picks up his Blink Dagger, I think there's going to be a smoke time. Maybe try to get something done on that part of the map, on top part, where Roshan's going to be for another 4 minutes, and then turn that into Roche.
They are farming pretty far forward. Toronto Tokyo in the enemy triangle for the moment. He's looking to get that shard, unlock the hairball. Start off with a couple of stacks of those quills, that viscous nasal goo. Throw it from quite a distance to help you kind of initiate. They don't have the Blink Dagger. They do now on Ursa. So they do have 2 initiation tools in Ball Lightning Vortex, Blink from the Ursa if they want to go that direction. But here's a snowball up on the high ground to Kiyotaka. Wheel of Wonder. You will at least zone them away from going up those steps, but they're still chasing for more. Panto would love to TP out, realizes that's never going to happen. And now all of a sudden there's a Yules on a Mira. So not only is Panto dead, but Mira's caught out, and he doesn't have a TP to work with, so he's dead on his screen already unless he has the jukes of the Millennium inside. But under the tower he'll go, and he'll fall to Yuma. That's 2 more kills for Heroic.
Gold Scepter, they're getting the value. This is the second time they look at the mid lane.
Kiyotaka?
Blink Dagger, Kiyotaka. Not too happy about this one. And we talked about potentially Aurora going for Roche. Instead, it's going to be Heroic. Meta is available.
That's a huge takeaway. These Ursa lineups want that early Roche, and they want to be able to work with the Aegis.
That's why you pick the hero. You want to take objectives. You want to take Tormentor. You want to take Roche. But first, Tormy and Roche going into Heroic's hands. So that's going to be pretty massive. Whisper. So far, this itemization has been working out. Glimmer Cape, Yule Scepter, very defensive. Going into Shard next, so that's going to be also a repositioning tool. 6k gold lead all of a sudden.
Yeah, that Yule is definitely up of that 500 IQ feel. They just don't have the answers yet for the side of Aurora. They want this BKB on Nightfall. He'll feel more confident going in. It's the Crimson Guard, they're not terribly far away from it. 1,000-ish golds. However, is that and the BKB from the Ursa going to be enough?
Definitely feels like they need those items to take the fight. You have Sniper, who's going to be holding the Aegis. I think he is bringing the Shard on Courier, so will be relatively maneuverable during these fights. They have Pavis, they have Drinking Buddies, Glimmer Cape on Kunkka, Shard going into Hurricane Pike. So that's not going to be the easiest catch. They need to pair up Ursa with the Storm Spirit if they want to kill him.
Twin Gate to the top lane. 3 heroes here for Aurora. They smoked immediately, but this is not a fight that they'll win. Yule's into the air. Wheel of Wonder, Ice Blast comes in. They've got the Cold Feet. That locks up the Kunkka, but Mira, he's in their crosshairs, and they should be able to get this kill first. They look for another one in the Ancient Apparition. Panto, Tidal Wave back, and they will get themselves two. Kiyotaka just looking to cut the creep wave and get out of there. He'll pick up a Lotus on the way out. This is overall just not a good fight for Aurora.
He's trying to chase him down. But so far, this itemization from Kunkka, it's working. He gets that Yule Scepter, gets the Torrent, gets the boat, forcing two supports to try to help him out. And in the end, they get another 2 kills.
Going to be very reliant on Ursa and Bristle holding a lot of the load here for Aurora if they're going to win this game. Because Kiyotaka's farm is very behind. Schofield's got so much gold. Although...
A little inflated from that
yeah,
Shard.
I was going to say somewhat inflated from the Shard. But even 1,400 less, like, that's still 6,400 net worth. The inflation doesn't feel that bad right now.
In the game, not in the real world, yes.
My eggs! Toronto, Tokyo. Sanj and Yasha is the game plan. You're gonna TP away. Schofield not gonna see them on the way out. They finally have this BKB for the Ursa. Might be time for Aurora to be the ones who are jumping first. We have talked about a lot of Heroic, what they've been doing right. We have barely talked about the fact that Sniper has really been free farming this entire time.
Yeah, he's in a really good spot, holding the Aegis. Very difficult to kill. They've been using Twin Gates quite a lot, and I'm seeing what Whisper has in his quick buy. I really like that. If he gets Nullifier, if you use that on Ursa, removing Overpower, great against all the defensive items that you're gonna get on the supports, and most importantly, great against Escape Tag. So you can focus down pretty much anyone. This is not your traditional item build by any means, but so far it really is working out for Heroic, especially Whisper. And a Crimson Guard as well. That one can be dispelled.
From the high ground, whoa! Nightfall is in. Ice Blast flies through. That does get contact with Analog, but they need to get the damage out to get the kill here on the Sniper. They'll take the Aegis away, but that's it. Can they hold on for more? Schofield not finding an opportunity to get the blink into an Avalanche toss. He's going to be with the cold feet, but the Avalanche is there. He went in before he froze over. So Kiyotaka has to decide to leave because Schofield had the opportunity to throw that Avalanche out.
And Kiyotaka, he's really pushing the limits. Like, if he goes in, if he gets tossed there, if Cold Feet doesn't connect, he's definitely dead. Still, managing to get the kill. without losing anything, removing that Aegis, even though Aegis was about to expire in a minute. But not using BKB on Nightfall. He was very patient. Even though he got bounced by Torrent, bounced by Tidal Wave, Toss as well. There's a lot of repositioning tools that they do have. So even if Aurora is in the lead of this game, going for the high ground or just defending the towers for Heroic is going to be relatively easy. Plus, on top of that, you have Sniper, which is one of the best, if not the best, tower defense hero in the game.
He feels like a tower, one that can move around with the way he hits these heroes from a distance. They've smoked up on Heroic. They're looking for an opening. Kiyotaka is top. Schofield, as well as Whisper, a little bit late to the charge on that. They might have been able to find Kiyotaka. Not the easiest kill. He was able to get a ball lightning out. Toronto Tokyo trying to get the mid-tier 1 that's still up. 23 minutes into the game. They're hoping for somebody to react, but Nightfall will show himself. 8 points away. They go to the X. They land the Torrent. They are just kind of extending it to the point where they get the deny on the tower.
All that work for nothing.
Nothing. That's a bit upsetting. Would love to have gotten something there. Ball lightning to pick up the arcane rune, but now hit with that torrent, the avalanche, Kiyotaka, it was not worth it. Toronto Tokyo's in the middle. The Ice Blast's gonna fly through. He'll start to throw those quills. He's got the escape back. Schofield's gonna die here. He'll shatter to the Ice Blast. The Nightfall BKB TP is not enough. Oh, the damage overwhelms him. And that go-to BKB TP is BKB TP die. There was extra steps on that one.
Whisper ready with the X.
Panto, bring around the Rosie, but eventually punched up into the air. He dies, and so does Mira. 4 dead on Aurora.
Yeah, this game looks very, very difficult. We talked about Kiyotaka. His playstyle is either he's the god of the game with the moves that he's making. His highs are very high, and his lows are probably the lowest of quite a lot of professional players, because a lot of the times he loves to risk it. And that Yule Scepter, again, from Whisper, really paying off. Getting the combo off, and he just dies there. Crimson Guard almost keeping him alive. Mira was very close to get the escape act, but still not good enough. In the end, it's just going to be Schofield that they're going to sacrifice, and you can see that Nightfall, he jumps in, KJ punching him in the middle of it. Problem is, Ursa doesn't have really a target to go for. He can't kill Sniper with all the defensive items that he does have. Shard, Hurricane Pike. Kunkka's very difficult to kill, and Terrorblade, not gonna even mention him, because Yuma's having pretty much a perfect game. He's involved in all 15 out of 15 kills.
Really having a solid time. They have just, like you said, used these twin gates to move around the map so fluidly. Down 10K, and win probability is pretty close for a team down 10,000 net worth. Avalanche, and some right clicks on a Panto. Ice Blast gets committed. They've got the Wheel of Wonder. They'll lose Panto, but Schofield's the trade. Sunder comes through. Yuma 4-step back.
Ursa's coming. He does have haste available. No Kiyotaka, though. Let's see if he decides to TP, or if they want to take this fight.
Thought about it for a second.
Could be the case.
Holding on to the strongman tonic. Looking to go for another Tormentor, but instead Yuma's gonna bail. Need to start controlling these objectives as Roche is now up, Tormentor's still up.
I think it's time for them to go for Roche, knowing that there is no meta available. They want to use this opportunity and try to grab it.
Kiyotaka just went into the pit and saw it, so Ursa's gonna come over.
For a moment, I thought Kiyotaka wants to solo it. This guy's freaking crazy.
He could try. Do they have a way in? There's smoke. They're coming. Nightfall immediately out.
Kiyotaka is soloing it.
You said this guy's crazy. Demon Zeal. They think that's enough. No meta. Schofield. 4-man avalanche. Torrent coming through onto the Bristle. They'll still get the kill on a Schofield. The initial initiation looks good, but now can they find Yuma? It's going to be a problem with Analog just blinking away. And with no Ice Blast connection, I don't know if they can commit for more on Yuma. He still wants to go. He still doesn't have meta, but he does have Sunder. So he's strong enough and ready enough to stand his ground. You know, we're so far into the fight, we just don't even see Analog at all. He is so far away, just in these trees, in these positions, under that ghillie suit, finding spots to output that damage.
So they proc Roshan's Roar, and let's see what the play is going to be. Immediately on the high
Nightfall. Wow.
What a bait.
Yeah, they got the Roar, and they try to bait him in. He pops his BKB, but he's on the run. Nightfall, this BKB is going to run out soon, and you've not done anything with it. They start to back away from the fight. Nightfall doesn't have a BKB to work with anymore. So Toronto, Tokyo, the escape act is there. The ghost ship flies through, but still, look at where Analog is. He's behind the fight. They find Kiyotaka. They've got the toss. Ice Blast is there. The Tame the Beast. They're going to freeze him over. They'll get the kill on Yuma. He misplayed. Analog, he was too far away from the fight.
He dodges it.
He's still not hitting these heroes. They get the kill on a Whisper, and now they'll look for Analog. They cannot kill him.
Kiyotaka dodged that assassinate, and he's not done. Schofield, he has no mana. Now he does. Boss, not enough damage. Avalanche in 3 seconds. Needs to run away.
Tame the Beast, cold feet, and a kill. Aurora, it was 10,000 net worth in favor of Heroic.
Now they're going to lose Roshan on top of that. They kited that fight so nicely. Even though it was a nice play from them where they procced Roshan's Roar and immediately went to the high ground to check who's there. They find Ursa, and look who's going to pick it up. They're going to give it to the craziest guy in the game. Kiyotaka's going to be holding the Aegis. Definitely what he needs.
Watch the map a little bit for Analog's movements. You're not really going to see him on the screen, but he's still hitting away a little bit, and then at some point, he'll kind of back away from this fight. Doesn't have a lot of life to work with, because I believe he was hitting into Bristleback's blade mail.
Hitting him.
So now he's not comfortable staying in the fight. Look at where he's now. He's by the tier 1 tower, and you don't have this extra sniper damage on any of these heroes, and you leave him alone.
Oh god, he got the first hit bash on TB. TB also doesn't have Butterfly available. Maybe this one, this Scotty is good. It gives you tankiness, gives you good slow against Bristleback, against Ursa, but same goes for the game number 1. I think he needs to have that Butterfly slightly earlier. Ursa will buy MKB. He definitely loves to buy that item.
Yeah. Ball lightning and a snowball. KJ drinking with a Cardi, but still dead. All of a sudden, I mean, Aurora are in the driver's seat.
They are. Nightfall did upgrade his item. This is going to be pretty much his item throughout the game. Can upgrade his Blink. Revenant's Brooch has been completed. Skull Basher, of course, can be upgraded to Abyssal, but Revenant's Brooch is the big one. It is his way of dealing damage to Terrorblade, turning some of that damage into magic damage. So 30% of the attacks are going to be dealt as bonus magic damage.
What do you do now as Heroic? Aurora, they took their pit stop. They changed the tires. They changed the chassis. They were ready. Let's go. Back in.
Pretty much all it took. 5 seconds. They were ready to go. After that
Avalanche
that
toss.
happened, Toronto, Tokyo.
He pops that blade mail. They'll have a ghost ship flying in. Ice Blast. It's through. Oh, it's got his shard upgrade, so they're cold feet for a moment.
They're pulling him
the
in.
Wheel of Wonder, and now Yuma's in trouble. Kiyotaka, he's got an Aegis to work with. He does not care. He wants
needs that Sunder. He's dying.
He'll Sunder KJ. Is that enough of a turnaround, though? It's not likely. Yuma's now dead. Analog doing what he can. They'll get the kill in a Nightfall. Drinking buddies. Walrus punch. Kiyotaka's in deep, but they'll get the kill in a Analog. They'll look over at KJ, and it's a full team wipe for Aurora.
Heroic, they fell apart. That one fight into Roche, into Tormentor, suddenly 6k gold lead. This Ancient Apparition Blast hitting multiple heroes. He also has a Blink Dagger, which I really like. On Panto, he was kind of missing them at the early stages of the game, but this also allows him to hit those. He can blink on top of the hero that he wants to go for, stun them for the duration, and now this is going to be another tier 2 tower. Schofield is in, and it seems like Schofield is going to be out after this one. He did use Dual Scepter, use that Shadow Blade, budget Shadow Blade. Didn't work out amazingly for him, and also gonna lose his Courier. So quite a lot of gold, good amount of XP. Sure, you got that kill, but
Is that worth it?
definitely not.
Sure. 8,000 now in favor of Aurora. Heart on Toronto, Tokyo. Right? Does he have it coming out? No.
It's on the Courier.
There it is. So 3,800 life and a heart. I mean, this guy just got even harder to kill. And he's got the plus 25 health
kill him
regen.
is if you sunder him. Otherwise, he's not dying. There's also no Silver Edge on Sniper. He did go for Mjolnir, trying to buy MKB. And now all of that lead that they did have is down the drain. And it feels like they kind of needed those items. Maybe they needed a break. Maybe they needed Butterfly on Terrorblade. But now those items are going to be delayed.
Are they in the quick buy at least?
One is.
Okay. BKB for Sniper is the plan. I like the Hex choice from Whisper if he goes for it before the Ghost Scepter. Just not sure. Schofield's looking at Toronto, Tokyo like he could kill the guy. I don't. They would need a lot to kill Toronto, Tokyo.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
He's really
Still looking.
the limits. Knew exactly where he was gonna sit. Schofield. But you know what, Kiyotaka? This guy's a madman. He's going in.
Ice Blast is flying over, and that'll be what gets the kill. And then you just leave Toronto, Tokyo there because you know he's got a heart. Look at his health. Never. All right. Still full. Still full. Starting to take some right clicks. Has a lot of health regen. Back to full for a moment. I mean, the guy is just not taking any damage. They'll kill off Analog. They'll look over at Whisper. And still, Toronto, Tokyo just continues to have pretty much the same amount of health the entire time.
Gossamer Cape, so some of those attacks are also missing. Schofield, he tried to play who's gonna chicken out first, but you're playing against Kiyotaka. This guy, he will take the bait every single time.
Whether it's positive or negative for him,
exactly.
he'll take the bait. He sees the hook and then bites into it real deep.
So double buyback, one on Analog, one on Whisper. We talked about the items that they need to get. Analog switches from BKB to Silver Edge. It feels like they need to break that guy. And it might be too late at this point because he's so far away. Just uses buyback. He gets zipped by Storm Spirit. Next fight with Ursa. He's going to die. And Toronto Tokyo is playing in their face. He's just, I don't care. Like, you legit cannot do anything to me unless Terrorblade is low HP and I get sundered.
He doesn't take damage.
Yeah, he's sitting at the 70% HP. That was the lowest.
The entire time. Going for an AC next. How do you pierce the armor? How do you pierce the back of Bristleback? I don't know if this guy dies from this point on. And I did say it on purpose because I'm going to make it harder for him by putting the Caster's Curse on there. You know, you say something's impossible, within the next 5 minutes it ends up being a reality.
They need Silver Edge again, or they need Terrorblade to sunder him in the middle of a fight. That's the only way to kill him. Just the damage coming out from Tusk, Tiny, Kunkka, it's not there. Kunkka doesn't deal any damage. He's more of a utility.
Got a game plan for the next Roche. But I don't know if Aurora are going to let you get to that timing. They are pinching on 3 lanes.
Is under attack.
Human not near the base. Toronto, Tokyo. I don't know if that's the guy you want to...
He would walk away and also has Ogre Seal Totem, so it was definitely fine.
But when you make that decision for him, he may not even want to walk away, right? They'll just throw the quills out. See if Analog could get to this Silver Edge. He's got the Shadow Blade, but he needs the Silver Edge part of the Silver Edge.
Dire are scanning.
Yeah?
No, I'm thinking. So yeah, he's missing that part. One is completed. So Demon Edge and Recipe, so needs to farm another 2,000 gold.
What's he taking?
If he needs I mean, Mindbreaker could be good against Storm Spirit. He gets like clipped by it. Even Ursa doesn't get the ulti off. Might be forced to use a BKB. Let's see what he decides to go for. Serrated Shiv
Scanning.
for now.
He's got options. Does he take Ogre Seal Totem just to get away?
He has enough. He has Hurricane Pike and Shard.
Wow.
Yotaka, he's ready to go. Parasma, Aghanim Scepter.
Ball hiding all the way in. Kiyotaka goes
Round one.
for Yuma. Ice Blast nowhere near close. Wheel of Wonder was also committed on that. Nightfall maybe looking for his way in. Paleman Arts hit on a Whisper. Toronto Tokyo's in. He knows you can't kill him. He will take you on 5v1. Concussive Grenade, it puts Analog in a bad spot. He's dead. Schofield drops. No buyback available for Analog, and Paleman Arts don't land on a Yuma. Oh no. Tendrils are always
They're
such a
getting
grief.
Don't bring the numbers.
Kroger!
And one more.
Oh no!
This might just be it. Toronto Tokyo's
No.
way too big. He's going in, soaking up all of the damage, and we can see the face of a guy.
We just got a double kill, basically.
This might be the biggest griefer in Dota. Throughout my 20-year-old history in Dota, I played with a lot of griefers, a lot of known griefers, but this guy might just be the new face of it.
He really is. How many times are we gonna see players get just tendrilled?
And now with 25 talent, damage is going to be pretty insane. 7 stacks. Still got to look at that face. Not a pretty face to look at.
Very catfish in nature. Looks like the face of a griefer. It really does.
And now Mega Creeps. I don't think they can defend. 20 seconds without Sniper, 20 seconds without TB. They don't have buybacks available. Way too much damage coming up from Bristleback. AC also completed. Toronto Tokyo went fully ham this game, and now they're about to go in. Even though like the first initiation wasn't that good, TB gets out of Ancient Apparitions Blast, gets out of Wheel of Wonder. He zipped in, used the pool and BKB. It's still more than enough. And Nightfall is like, Kiyotaka, you are the guy. This is the guy that we want to have. Something crazy.
In Ice Blast, making sure it catches them on the back end. So then they try to retreat, they'll get hit. Oh, look, it's the face of a griefer.
Yeah. They did you dirty.
Don't look at my recent games. I think the last one's an Abandon. Oh, no. Throne is exposed. They need a perfect initiation here. And I don't know if it exists.
It needs to be tossed back into Tidal Wave, into the fountain.
They had that picture ready, by the way. Makes you wonder. Toronto Tokyo pops the blade mail, and then Yuma has to go back. Tidal Wave, some right clicks, still no Silver's Edge.
Another AA ulti coming. He's gonna pull them in.
The
Five
man. Oh my god!
They're ready. What a combo!
Wow! Oh my god!
What a way to qualify to the playoffs.
That was awesome!